I don't know if you know what happened, but like I shit myself.
Becoming a Big Brother fan can be a daunting task. Little did you know that whatever it is you found yourself watching has a back catalog of over 800 episodes. And to join the ranks of our battle-weary fan base, you're going to need to catch up on 20 years worth of discourse. I imagine for a lot of newer fans looking to become more versed in their BB history, it can be hard to prioritize what to go back and watch first. And then someone like me comes along to tell you that, well, actually, one of the best seasons of the show is the secret bonus track season that you have to trick CBS into letting you view.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Today, I want to briefly explain why Big Brother Over the Top is an excellent, entertaining season, despite often being left out of the conversation and left off the website. A while back, I posted a poll on my channel with a simple question. Have you seen OTT either as it was airing in the fall of 2016 or after the fact? And as I was expecting, it seems like a lot of people have not seen it. As one of the dozens, if not hundreds of BB fans who watched OTT as it was airing, you're gonna learn today.
Motherfuckers gonna learn today. If they don't know, they're gonna learn today.
Think of this as an introductory beginner's guide to OTT. Rather than reviewing the whole season and walking you through week by week, I want to keep it a little more spoiler friendly. I just want to tell you how to watch it and why you should. What was it about this experimental season that made it so unique and engaging? The short answer is this. Yes, BBOTT was weird and different and sometimes a complete mess. But then I think of the criteria for what makes a great season of Big Brother. Things like a good cast, a split house, power shifts, crazy fights, and entertaining live feeds. And the simple truth is that OTT delivered on almost every front. So here, drink the metaphorical blue potion, and allow me to briefly argue the case that Big Brother Over the Top is essential viewing.
Hello? I guess I'm the first person here.
First, let's talk about what this season is and why it exists. Or to put it another way, why is it called that?
It's the Big Brother you all know and love, but reinvented for CBS All Access.
Yes, the story of OTT is also the story of Paramount Plus, or as it was known back then, CBS All Access. Nowadays, we're pretty accustomed to bouncing around between all the different streaming platforms available to us, but as recent as 6 or 7 years ago, it was still a pretty novel concept to most people.
Get it on the bus.
All Access marked the first foray of a traditional broadcasting network like CBS into this newer landscape of online, over-the-top streaming platforms. Oh, yeah, there's your answer. OTT is literally broadcasting jargon for the world we now live in. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, these are all types of over-the-top streaming services. So it's a play on words, because over-the-top is how you might also describe an outrageous Big Brother player.
It's OTT, baby.
It's so OTT.
Is it a great name? Apparently there were other ideas on the table, and I would really love to know what they were. As Alison Grodner tells it, OTT came to be when the All Access people approached her team with the idea of trying an online-only version of Big Brother in the fall. At the time, All Access was pretty bare bones. It's where you went to watch Big Brother live feeds and, I don't know, Madam Secretary reruns. And OTT was going to be CBS's first piece of original content for the platform, though it was coming off the heels of an earlier announcement that an exclusively online Star Trek series was set to be released in early 2017. If you want some early momentum for your streaming platform, maybe it's not a bad strategy to tap into dedicated, pre-established fan bases like Trekkies and BB fans. Two groups of people known for being super chill.
All right, that's enough.
Given the early August announcement, basically all of the planning and casting for OTT was all happening during the back half of BB18. Maybe it had to do with Star Trek getting delayed, but the decision was made to start this bonus season almost right away, rather than waiting for a time slot in spring of the following year. They had tried that route once before on the other off-cycle season, but Big Brother 9: Till Death Do You Part was both a ratings and a psychological low point for the series. So instead, the premiere was going to be just a week after the BB18 finale.
And a new group of house guests is moving in 1 week from tonight.
Go check in with loved ones, drink some water, go yell at Polly on Twitter, and meet us back here in 7 days. Oh, and sign up for CBS All Access so you can vote in Jason or Jose.
Jose, Go to CBS.com to subscribe and vote.
So basically, OTT was an experiment. It was a test to see if the BB fans would be willing to pay $5 to have more Big Brother, and it was also a test to see if they could hold our attention for a longer chunk of the year.
My one wish for Christmas, Xbox One. I don't know.
Before we go any further, let's fast forward to today and talk about how to actually watch the show. If Paramount Plus aspires to be the mountain of content, then OTT is the forgotten ruins deep below. It's a hard season to recommend because if you want to watch this thing, you need to prove that you really want to. Okay, I'm being dramatic, but if you have Paramount Plus, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is no longer accessible. Currently in 2023, if you search for it within the platform itself, nothing shows up.
Got nothing for you. Grab yourself, head back to camp.
But after a quick Google search, you'll see that it is there, it's just hidden from view. Basically, they did a soft delete of the first piece of original content for the platform and removed it from the search results. And because of that, I'm always worried that one day it's just going to disappear entirely. Now is the time, folks. Watch it while you still can.
Don't forget me, America, you know? I'm a good guy.
The first link in the description of this video will be a link to this page on Paramount Plus, which should work if you pay for Paramount and you're in the US. Non-Americans, I don't know, maybe like a VPN or something. Also, I recommend that you go to this on desktop the first time. Once you're there, hit that add to my list button. That way you can get back to it or watch it on a TV app or the mobile version.
On the bus.
What separates OTT from every other season is that, like Survivor, it only had one episode a week instead of the usual 3. But this condensed format worked pretty well because this season placed a greater emphasis on the live feed experience. They were up like 98% of the time, and you basically saw everything play out live, including competitions. And there were also fun new additions like the twice-weekly live diary room sessions, which were sort of like the old internet chats with the HOH, but with the whole cast. If you wanted to feel like a pervert, you could even watch the full hour-long cast swimsuit photo shoot.
Moisture down. I want everybody slicked up.
If you didn't have time to watch feeds, 4 times a week they also played these short daily recaps of major events. The only downside to this live feeder's paradise is that for any of you OTT newcomers, most of this stuff is gone. Live feeds go away, the daily recaps no longer exist. You can find some stuff on YouTube, and you can still get to CBS's own highlight clips on Paramount Plus. Or at least sometimes you can. Sometimes it says Celebrity Big Brother and only like 5 of them are there, and the UI makes you want to stop trying. I swear to God, this season is a computer virus.
You've been infected! Get to the diary room!
And since the single weekly episode moves at a breakneck speed, first-time viewers may feel like they're missing out on a lot of stuff. But don't worry, because I've put together an archive of the bonus material for all of you who want that additional context. If you go to dolphincrash.com/OTT, you'll find links to live feed clips from both fans and CBS, organized by week, as well as stuff like Old Rob Has a Podcast coverage. By the way, if you're going to start watching this season, before you hit play on episode 1, you should actually start with the main intro clip of Julie kicking off the live move-in. This is the only way you can actually watch the cast introductions. If you start with episode 1, it's immediately off to the races with people walking in. Speaking of which, let's finally dive into what makes OTT a great season. And there's no better place to start than its incredible cast. OTT was all about a fresh approach to Big Brother, and this was perhaps most evident in the casting process. Instead of longtime series veteran Robin Cass running things as casting director, the decision was made to let one of her underlings take a seat in the big chair. This is Jesse Tannenbaum, whose name you might recognize by now. OTT was his first gig as a head casting director, and he's only gone up from there. In 2017, they gave him casting director for The Amazing Race, and then Survivor the following year, and finally in 2021, he replaced his old boss Robin Cass to oversee Big Brother casting. Tannenbaum now holds all 3 keys to the CBS reality kingdom, and I think at least some of it has to do with how well he delivered on his first major assignment.
This season of Big Brother go be hot, y'all. Now y'all passe so I can eat my shrimp.
When evaluating this cast, first off, let me just say that 13 is such a good, manageable number of people. It takes me back to the old days. Let's be honest, with the bigger cast, there's always a few people you could just delete from a season entirely and nothing would be different. You might notice a few similarities between OTT and the current era of Tannenbaum casted seasons. I mean, for one, this man clearly loves a secret lawyer storyline.
Some people tell me I'm too pretty to be a lawyer, but I tell them they're too dumb to be a person.
And it's not much on the diversity front, but having 3 black people on a cast of this size seemed like a small victory at the time. I think Big Brother 11 is the only comparable season numbers-wise. And to continue the thread from my Judd video, it's also worth noting that this is one of the most southern casts of all time. You have these two who brought the more traditional redneck fanfare that we had grown accustomed to seeing every year, but they were both kind of flops.
I love blowing stuff up and I'm amazed by fire.
Instead, I think the more successful southern characters are people like Whitney, who I can confidently say has the thickest accent of all time.
Chrissy is so much different from what I'm used to being around in my hometown.
As well as Justin, who, if it's not obvious already, is one of my favorite Big Brother characters ever.
The way I got everything twerculating, I think everything, is percolating in my favor, you dig?
The evidence is right there. I'm telling you guys, the secret to great casting is to get more people from New Orleans.
It's the big dirty, baby. We coming from the bottom of the boot.
You're trying to put New Orleans in Algiers, but Algiers is losing, baby.
What else jumps out at you about this cast? I'll give you a hint. At the start of the game, there were more women than men, a numbers advantage that has only happened on one other season.
I'm stuck with these beautiful women.
Apologies to all those who are pro-men out there, but I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the men do their thing countless times. But this time around, it was Joey's revenge, because the women took that numerical advantage and never let go of it. Okay, we're getting into spoiler territory here, but after the first 5 evictions, there are 0 straight white men left in the house. Which of course was completely unprecedented in Big Brother history at the time, and the likes of which we wouldn't see again until Christian's eviction in BB23.
No, for real, that shit is so empowering. We can do this shit.
Not that Cornbread didn't try to go the familiar route by forming a Night 1 all-guys alliance, hilariously also called the Four Horsemen. Look, there are 2 types of Scots in this world. Actually, speaking of that, there are a lot of coincidental names going on here. A nerdy virgin named Scott, Alex the gamer girl, a handsome carpentry guy named Shane who is in a showmance with a girl named Danielle. And another Big Brother 5 parallel is we get another dose of Project DNA via the gimmick that Morgan and Alex are secretly sisters, unbeknownst to the rest of the house.
My sister and I are very opposite people and we're constantly at each other's throats.
Luckily, there's no twin swapping in and out mechanic. They're just both in the house from the start, which was a change the producers needed to make if A, they wanted to avoid showing us the same exact twist for a 3rd time, and B, they specifically wanted to do this to Jason again.
Are Morgan and Alex the same person?
And unlike with Liz and Julia, the Willette sisters were able to keep the ruse intact through most of the season. And what can I say, it's kind of funny watching everyone find out.
She's been playing this game with a sibling in the house.
Oh!
Me and Morgan are sisters!
What the fuck?
But beyond the demographics and the gimmicks, the most important thing is that this cast is made up of amazing, dare I say it, over-the-top personalities. If I had to rank them all by their strengths as reality TV characters, here's how I'd group them. Monty and Cornbread are at the bottom for, among other things, being the most boring people in the house.
The vanilla jock guy, he's not gonna want to keep me around at
Monty's
all.
not even vanilla because vanilla has calories.
Then you have Scott and Chrissy, who didn't have many fans and could be pretty annoying at times, but I think even they make a strong argument that annoying people can make good Big Brother characters in the right circumstances.
I'm fucking bleeding everywhere.
All I'm saying is I'm allowed to find it funny when Scott hypes himself up to the camera like a weirdo, or when Chrissy gets angry at production and starts checking the BB rulebook. Next are Morgan and Shane, who are okay, but kind of average, maybe just a little underwhelming compared to the others. And finally, all of these people, over half the cast, are really great characters in my opinion. They each add something to the season as a whole, and I wish I could see them on a regular Big Brother season. I could write an entire speculative fanfiction about replacing half of the BB19 cast with these people.
Are you guys pissed or what? You look pissed, dude. What's going on?
Always pissed.
You hanging out always pissed?
Basically.
Yeah?
So overall, it's a fun group of characters to watch play Big Brother. But you can have good characters and still get a boring season. What's more important is that these people came to do battle.
Cause we jamming and grooving, it is Halloween night, and yeah, baby, OTT, quite a fright. Late night jamboree, baby, tell you how we do things in these streets. Yeah, I am a fireman zombie, and she is a weirdo with teeth.
Okay, no pearl clutching, please. You need to be thankful that sometimes the right mix of people creates a powder keg. Simply put, the intensity with which this cast hated each other gives me life.
That bitch ran to the bathroom and started just shimmying and all this bullshit, and then Scott going in there with her, and they just being all in camaraderie together.
Right off the bat, the house becomes bitterly divided, and after the first 2 evictions, it settles into 2 major alliances, the Ball Smashers and the Late Night Jamboree. But I prefer the names used by most fans in the community, the Plastics and the Misfits. The Mean Girls terminology is very appropriate. It's the pretty popular girls and their dorky simp versus the kids who sneak out behind the school to smoke cigarettes.
Dude, this is High School the sequel. You know, like...
It really is.
I was voted the biggest loudmouth, probably because I was the most obnoxious bitch in my high school.
What I really like is that the conflict is built on pairs of adversarial relationships. Everyone's got their own nemesis. Jason has Shelby.
Go change your clothes.
I will, and you can keep wearing that t-shirt with a dress.
Yes, I will.
Justin has Monty.
See, look, Monte, I heard what you said about me, motherfucker. Don't even look at me.
And Chrissy has Scott.
Scott was like, do you want to go talk upstairs? No? Do you want to go fuck yourself? Sure.
Maybe the fights are just that much more enjoyable because of the unlimited cursing. There's no FCC when it's OTT.
You have no idea how stupid this shit is.
Those eviction nights could get especially rowdy. Unlike the regular show, the Wednesday evictions were not hosted by Julie. She showed up on Thursday mornings to interview the evicted house guest and check in with everyone else. But the actual votes and evictions were self-guided like a veto ceremony. So there's no adult in the room to keep things civil.
Shane, when you drank the blue potion, no. I have to make a small speech.
Okay.
When you drank the blue potion on... Good luck, cornbread.
Fuck yeah.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Maybe it's not for everyone, but if you appreciate the subtle art of ruthless pettiness, you'll find a lot to enjoy throughout the season. From small stuff like Jason hiding all of the crackle bars from Shelby, to more game-implicating sources of drama like the time Jason and Danielle form a fake alliance with the Plastics just for the hell of it.
Who would have thought?
I know, right? It's very random.
Jason, I just want to bring up the fact that you, in the HOH room last night, came to us with a final 5 deal, so everyone knows.
As a group, the OTT cast played hard. They didn't care it was a weird offshoot season. They didn't get the memo. And it's not as simple as saying, oh, there were a lot of fights and that's entertaining. Rather, it's the fact that a fun game of Big Brother was being played, and the conflict helped elevate that.
They're just horrible human beings.
It's so smug.
There's no steamroll or one master manipulator guiding the chaos. It's an old-fashioned, long struggle between 2 sides taking shots at each other week after week, until the very end of the season. And this cast should be thanked and recognized for delivering a good show. But they didn't do it alone.
Hello, yeah, can I get a large cup of this shit crazy? Cause this shit off the chain.
So we're 15 minutes in, and I haven't yet talked about OTT's most defining feature.
Come finale night, you at home will be responsible for voting for the winner.
I didn't want to lead with this because at the time, my first reaction was, really? They're gonna do BB1 again?
We tried that season 1.
I know.
Didn't work in America. Let's just put it that way.
But in practice, it was more like a fusion of BB1 rules and actual Big Brother gameplay. The HOH still puts up 2 nominees, then America puts up a third, sort of like that 3-week period in BB15. The biggest difference is that America also cast one of the eviction votes. And on top of that, the America's Care Package twist from BB18 returned to dole out little week-to-week advantages. A lot of fans hated this aspect of OTT. Other people found it to be an interesting alternate version of how the game works. Maybe not for the regular show, but still an interesting concept nonetheless. Obviously, America was incredibly overpowered as both a partial HOH and a voter. And with an evenly divided house, the votes were always super close, meaning the audience was sometimes the deciding factor. And never before has being head of household been so irrelevant. Say Chrissy's in power and wants to target Alex. Whoops, Alex is safe now. Okay, now the Plastics are in power. Well, too bad.
It's the co-HOH.
By my count, of the 10 HOH reigns, 5 of them were completely derailed, meaning 5 times an HOH ended up sending out an ally because of America's involvement. In a way, the fans were a checks and balances system that basically helped maintain the status quo between these two alliances. We guided the action throughout the season, and then at the end, we picked our winner. There are plenty of seasons that provided the house guests with little glimpses into how they're being perceived on the outside, but the back and forth nature of the OTT game gave it a different inflection.
You just don't want one side to have all the power and think they can do everything. And so maybe we were getting too comfortable and maybe we felt like we were making things pop. And so America was like, nah, sit on down, calm it down.
And it really starts getting fun when the more strategic players of the group are able to plan around the complexity and unpredictability of America's involvement.
It might even be smart for you to nom me over Justin, because if you leave me off the block, America might nom me. America's not gonna nom Justin.
Right, so you need to go up as a normal nom.
Of course, it's a bit ridiculous referring to this as America. This wasn't even the entire BB fandom. This was a smaller subset of the most dedicated weirdos. They were going wild inside the house, and we matched that energy level out here. Did it get a little toxic from time to time? Of course, this is the BB fandom we're talking about.
Mom, can you pick me up? I'm scared.
But I chalk it up to the fact that at this time, the entire internet was going insane.
Frankly, there is no path forward for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, the most important piece of context for OTT is that it was all happening during the final weeks of the 2016 election and its immediate aftermath. And given the fan voting aspect, there were a lot of parallels to the election. Stupid little memes were now becoming an integral part of American politics. And over here, BB fans were doing unparalleled levels of posting. Memes and discourse about who to nominate and who to give the care package to, on why they needed to come to a consensus and not split the vote. Towards the finale, all of the alumni were announcing who they were voting for to win like it was a campaign endorsement. And overall, there was more community tribalization across the different social media platforms. Here's how one dentist described it.
I've been reading stuff on Reddit and everywhere about oh, we have to gang up against Tumblr and stuff like that. So there's factions outside the house, which is that's really cool to me that it's like a battle outside the walls of the house.
The fandom intensity just speaks to the strength of this cast and the stark division between them, and that there were players to root for on both sides of the house. You could be Team Plastics or Team Misfits, but I think plenty of us were Team Fun Feeds, independent voters, if you will. I'm in that camp, I have to admit. I personally voted to the benefit of both alliances. I was just caught up in the ping-pong motion of the season. But like in any war, fatigue will inevitably set in. By the end of the season, maybe we all just needed to collectively go touch grass. Except by now the grass was covered in snow, and you realize that you watched Glenn get evicted in the month of June. I could talk about the BB community and the fan voting at length, and I may do so in a future video if there's interest. But for now, the main takeaway is that the audience involvement during OTT was as much a back and forth affair as the season itself. Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about some of the action behind the scenes.
You are not allowed to talk about production. You are not allowed to talk about production. Not allowed to talk about production. Not allowed to talk about production.
In terms of the finished edited episodes, you can't ignore that sometimes OTT was a sloppy, janky product. I suspect it had something to do with the transition from actual TV to streaming, but there are some oddities here and there. Like sometimes the footage will just be flickering. The most noticeable thing for me is the audio quality, which over the course of an episode will swing wildly from being too loud to too quiet. It's really bad during Julie's eviction interviews because her microphone makes it sound like she's calling into a Zoom meeting from her car.
Hello, I'm Julie Chen. Welcome to Big Brother Over the Top.
Now, I've done my due diligence in Adobe Premiere to normalize this audio for you, but if you go watch this season on your own, this is your warning. You're gonna need to keep that remote handy. Another aspect I could live without is how nominations worked, the safety ceremony. Functionally, it's like a combination of the current way it works with the old school one at a time key wheel. So the HOH marks individual house guests safe from the HOH room until only 2 remain as nominees. But this played out over the course of 2 days, with the first batch being marked safe on Saturday and the rest a full day later on Sunday. In theory, this kept the suspense going on the live feeds as you waited to see who the final 2 nominees would be. But in practice, and especially on the edited episodes, it doesn't really add anything to the experience. That extra 24 hours equates to like an additional 30 seconds of the show. But speaking of that, let's talk about the overall schedule of the game itself, because it made a pretty big impact on the whole experience. So here's how a normal season of Big Brother works. On Thursdays, a house guest is evicted and a new HOH is crowned. The next day, nominations are made, and on Saturday, live feeders wait around all day to see who wins veto. Basically, a bunch of stuff is front-loaded at the beginning of the week, and by the time the nomination episode is airing on TV on Sundays, live feeders basically know how the entire week is going to play out already, and they're just waiting for the live show, which is a big part of that disconnect between casuals and feeders. The OTT schedule is kind of the reverse, where nothing major happens at the start of the week, and then all the important stuff hits in the days leading up to the eviction. Obviously, adjustments had to be made to incorporate enough time for America to vote on 3 separate things. Other than the unnecessary 2-day nomination process, I kind of prefer this schedule over the regular one. This is a matter of personal preference, of course, but I like living my life on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then coming back for the OTT gauntlet. And I like that there's not this huge chunk of downtime between veto and the eviction. It kept me more engaged overall. The episode timing was a little weird though, because they had to pick a good time that could work with both the East and West Coast simultaneously. So for me on Wednesdays, I'd watch Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then the OTT episode would start at 10. And given that the HOH comp always played out on feeds afterwards, it was some rough Thursday mornings. Late night jamboree took on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, I mean, that 1 cup had me flushed already, so, don't need to get too rambunctious.
But I get why the summer show has the schedule it does. It's more friendly for creating 3 episodes of TV, but they don't have to worry about that on OTT. Every week was a heart-pounding sprint through a whole lot of stuff, taking what is normally 130 minutes of TV down to about 85 minutes of OTT. Like I said, this can be a bad thing for OTT newcomers, but it also had some benefits. The best aspect of the compressed format is that it avoids a major pitfall that was starting to become more prevalent. Let's be honest with ourselves, Big Brother 18 especially had a major filler content problem.
I feel like we're making a video for like a dating website where it's like, hi, I'm Victor, I'm 25 years old and I'm a personal trainer.
OTT did not have time for 5 entire prank segments. The editors had to be more selective with injecting little moments of humor. The filler content that does make the cut is almost all good, because most of the time it's Justin, and everything he does is funny. And if you wanted to, you could go seek out stuff like this in the live feed clips, so everyone's happy.
I'm pretty sure they're big niches.
Oh my God, Big Meech, we have your hair and it looks disgusting.
So overall, despite some technical crustiness here and there, I applaud OTT for doing more with less. And there's no better example of that than the competition design. The prevailing joke of the time, both inside and outside the house, was that OTT had a shoestring budget. Though it should be noted that even regular Big Brother is a cheap show to make, all things considered. Probably why it continues to still exist. But it's pretty obvious that OTT had even less money to work with than normal.
What? Look out, look out, look out, look out.
Yo, Big Brother, the light just blew ya.
My theory is that in the initial conversations with the All Access team, they told Grodner like, hey, we're spending $8 million an episode on Star Trek Discovery. If we give you $100, would you be able to make a BB season for us?
This is not a money tree. This is a fake you out tree.
Who knows, maybe this was entirely funded by Outback money. But whether from budget and/or time constraints, the OTT competition design philosophy was very much just set some shit down on the grass. On any other season, if they were going with, for example, a medieval fantasy type theme, it'd be a whole gigantic production.
I'm using this slingshot!
But here on OTT, it's just a small setup for the competition itself, a chair, some flags, and a couple suits of armor. That's all you're getting. But again, the simplicity and quaintness reminds me of seasons long ago. I mean, BB6 is one of the best seasons of all time, and it's not like it's held back by its small-scale competitions. Some of them are all-time classics. OTT has some competitions you'll recognize from other seasons, including a few older throwbacks like the laser puzzle or the old classic face morph. God, I miss this so much.
Let's see, these are scary as shit. No, that's Monty. Oh God, what the fuck does Monty look like?
But they did not include any series mainstays like the Wall Comp, OTEV, or the Joking Robot. Instead, the season gave the producers an opportunity to test out some new ideas. Some were geared more towards the live feed experience, like these communal puzzle-solving challenges, or the extremely simple premise of the first week HOH.
Every time the alarm sounds, the person wearing the BB bug must pass it to an uninfected house guest, leaving only one uninfected person. That person becomes the first head of household.
It's like bad hot potato.
Haters could call this boring, but I mean, going around the room and picking who we don't want to win HOH, that's how they used to do it. And for me, it's fascinating to make a competition where you're just watching people getting to know each other and have conversations, and then someone will come up and make them put on a crab necklace and a t-shirt. It's social experiment-y in a refreshing way. Other competitions involved kind of interesting combinations of trivia and physical challenges. And then there was my favorite new idea of all.
Actually, on the plot of land where the house now sits, in 1849, a young girl murdered her entire family.
You may begin searching the darkness once you hear the scream. Once you find them, you must place them into the toy chest in the center of the blood-soaked pentagram.
They have brought this one back on both the regular show and Celeb BB, but its first iteration will always be the best. It was literally playing out on feeds on Halloween night.
I was absolutely terrified out of my mind of all these spirits and ghosts and goblins and all these ghouls and shit. Oh God, no! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Their own little haunted house, a small-scale competition that's completely indoors, and it's amazing.
Oh my God. Fuck you guys.
If you touch me, I'll fucking sue you.
So yeah, like a lot of aspects of OTT, they didn't have the time or money or labor resources to produce this like a regular season of Big Brother. But it forced them to think on their feet, come up with new ideas, and shake up the formula a little bit. Maybe it was bootleg budget BB, but I think that's part of what made it great. It's all part of this season's scrappy identity. So I've given you a whole lot of context about what made this season so different. But now let's end on a more sad note. Will it ever return? I've been trying to figure out a simple question. How many people actually watched OTT? The answer isn't possible to know for certain because, of course, CBS didn't release those numbers. But the fact that this show's existence has not been mentioned since 2016 all but confirms it was not what they were hoping for. Trust me, when Big Brother has a good season numbers-wise, they are quick and eager to let us know about it. The closest thing I could find is this. A couple of weeks after the finale, Les Moonves told the Wall Street Journal that All Access had grown its subscriber base from 1 million subscribers in July 2016 to 1.2 million in December. So that's something, I guess. The only problem is that Big Brother fans are notorious for canceling their subscriptions en masse after the season for their long slumber. So does this 1.2 million reflect the numbers before or after the off-season exodus? If it was before, which is what I suspect, I think it's very likely that by the end of 2016, their subscriber base may have actually dipped back below the 1 million mark. So the answer is, I don't know how many people watch the show. But given that about 6 million people watched the premiere of BB18, I'm assuming not too many people made the jump. OTT was never going to draw in that large of a crowd, of course, but maybe they were hoping to convince more of the casual audience to convert.
Of it only being on CBS All Access, the CBS app, which did I mention you can get for free for the first month?
I have mine on my...
So the prospect of an OTT sequel seems very unlikely. CBS has gone a different route for the bonus BB content, one that is perhaps a little more casual friendly. I could get into a whole debate about this, but while I have enjoyed the 3 celebrity BB seasons for the most part, for me they don't come close to OTT. I mean, it was better than BB18. I think it's better than a lot of seasons. And if I've convinced any of you to try this season out, you might also be surprised with how high it ranks for you. I don't think that OTT was a failure, it was just ahead of its time. In the past 6 years, and especially during the pandemic, streaming has become so much more commonplace in our lives. It's not so weird to watch an entire season of a reality show on a streaming platform. And speaking of that announcement that BB24 had 8 billion streaming minutes or whatever, CBS now has a much more developed streaming platform to work with. Compared to the early days of begging for crumbs from Trekkies, the Paramount Plus subscriber base is getting close to 60 million. And they've had online-only seasons of Drag Race All-Stars and other shows.
Exclusively on Paramount Plus. I love Plus.
The infrastructure is there. OTT could work so much better now, but I think it was labeled a failure and will never get greenlit again. I made this video because this season doesn't get the recognition it deserves, and to explain why it's the obscure cult classic of Big Brother seasons.
What about me? Pay attention to me.
If anyone at CBS sees this, look, I realize OTT is never getting resurrected. I know that in my heart. But can y'all please just fix it on the website at least? Can you unlock it from the purgatory section of the server? The people deserve to see it. OTT was and continues to be worth the price of admission. It proved that some of us are willing to pay money for more Big Brother, and they rewarded our dedication with a spectacle unlike anything we had ever seen. Bonus content for the superfans, for just $5 a month. What a great concept. It's so great that it's inspired me to do my own version. So if you consider yourself a fan of my work and want to support me as I try to grow this into a real deal YouTube channel, I've prepared some over-the-top content just for you. It's called Barf Bag After Dark, a place for my wackiest, dumbest ideas, which you can find at patreon.com/bbbarfbag. There are so many reasons to subscribe. Access to monthly videos diving deeper into all the weird corners of Big Brother history, the satisfaction of knowing you're keeping dolphincrash.com alive in perpetuity, and providing me with income, cause oopsie-doo, I am now in my Frank unemployed era.
Well, I'm Frank. Just moved to Naples, Florida about a year ago, and I'm currently looking for work down there.
Yeah, so the company I work for got hit with a bunch of layoffs, so for the time being, I guess I work for you guys.
You landed in the street, no job, no salary, you've been eliminated.
Don't worry, I'll be okay, but I'll be more okay if a bunch of you come help me in my time of need. I know I'm still a small timer in the YouTube world, but I'd like to be able to put out videos more frequently, and your support will help get me there. The first After Dark video is already up, and you can watch it today. It's called the BB Megaplex, and it's my 19-hour journey of watching every movie ever screened in the Big Brother house in a single day.
Love the screenshots.
It's fun, it's stupid, and most importantly, it's only $5 to join. A big thank you to these wonderful people who have already made the jump. Y'all are true heroes. And thank you to all of my subscribers for continuing to spread the word about this channel. I'm really excited for the future, and I'll be back with more soon.
Hey everyone, so I keep getting asked, are you gonna play Xbox with Scott? And basically, this is gonna be my answer.